You are listening to the IndyCar Report with Elijah Poe, only on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Welcome, IndyCar fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for an off-season edition of the IndyCar Report with Elijah Poe. Elijah, not a lot of movement over the last couple of weeks, but the one thing that stands out here with just a couple weeks left of 2025 is that maybe not the most popular driver in the entire series, but definitely the most popular driver within Central Indiana. Connor Daly is without a seat.
Yes, he is. It's really unfortunate. We've got Stingray Robb, who has been picked up. He was obviously under contract for Juncos Hollinger Racing for 2026, but they went ahead and made that official here just last week, early this week, and made that official that he's going to be in the car for 2026, which does leave Connor Daly out of a seat. Obviously, there is still one seat open at Delcoin Racing. Jacob Abel is undecided for that. I'm not sure if they're going to re-sign him, but I think that's just as good a shot as any for Connor Daly to pick up that seat. If that's a possibility, I don't see why not.
Typically a development seat, though.
It is, but being a team that needs some backing, you look at Jacob Abel and Connor Daly, and those are two drivers who can definitely bring a little bit of backing.
Yeah, and Connor Daly can also bring you some wins on ovals. He hasn't done it yet, but everybody knows that he's capable of doing it.
And I'd be interested to see what that possibility would even look like in the Delcoin car, who they have not been the strongest, especially around Indy. It's no hidden secret. But that being said, Connor Daly is Connor Daly, and on the ovals, he definitely thrives.
Probably not a winning formula, to be honest. And if I were Connor Daly, and I'm not, what I would be doing right now is looking for the best possible Indy-only seat and a drive somewhere else until you can figure out a situation to get back in full-time. That would be my direction.
It's hard to disagree with that. Wouldn't be surprised to see him back in that Dreyer and Reinbold car for Indy. Maybe Andretti with Marco officially retiring. That would be a really cool opportunity for Connor to be in an Andretti car during the month of May. It would be just awesome. If that does fall through, I'm pretty confident he'd end up at Dreyer and Reinbold, and they've shown some pretty good showings these last couple years. And it's unfortunate Connor Daly's in this situation. I think we all know how talented he is on the ovals, but I'm not really sure what other teams aren't seeing in Connor. It's been kind of a long process throughout his really whole IndyCar career. He's switched back and forth, but just unable to keep that steady seat.
I really thought Dreyer and Reinbold was going to win the 500 in 2001.
Well, they almost had a shot here last year. They almost had a shot.
They really did. They led 50 laps, I believe.
Yeah, and Ryan Hunter-Reay would have come out ahead of those two RLL cars after his last pit sequence, so he would have been ahead of Palou and Ericsson, but had a fuel pressure issue, which was a pretty common occurrence in 2025 throughout all the races, really.
Robbie Buell was trying to pass Helio Castro-Neves for the lead with maybe 50 laps to go and didn't make it stick and crashed, and that was Dreyer and Reinbold's best shot ever at winning the 500, and he had the fastest car out there. It was really too bad. I've talked to him about it. By the way, great guy, great on the radio as well.
Brutal. That is just brutal, especially for a one-off team, just to even have a shot.
They were not a one-off team then.
Oh, wow. Well, that shows you how young I am.
It does. They were a full-time Indy Racing League team.
Ooh, in the IRL days.
That's right. And they were actually a pretty good team, won quite a few races.
Well, I would love to see them be able to get back. Obviously, they've shown to bring a good car in Indy qualifying, usually with ease, obviously. But, you never know where Connor's going to end up, and I think that's why his fans love him. You never really know what he's going to do at the end of the day.
Dennis Rodbull definitely knows what he's doing. Yeah, it just would be such a shame if Connor Daly doesn't have a full-time ride, especially if he has to settle for a secondary Indy-only ride. If he goes with Andretti, I think that's almost as good a result as a full-time ride for Indy, because that would put him right in the mix.
He really just needs a shot. It's been unfortunate. His career has been kind of riddled with these 1 to 2 year contracts. Obviously, I think his most stable gig was with ECR a couple years ago. But he's really been bouncing back and forth, really his whole career. And like you said, I do agree. If he's able to lock down that fourth Andretti car, that would be pretty special. But I wouldn't be surprised if Colton Herta's in that fourth one if his Formula
Right.
2 schedule allows him.
Right. Speaking of which, there is some FIA news, Elijah, and it's some pretty interesting news.
It's definitely interesting because we've had this whole discussion about Colton Herta going to Formula 2 because he didn't have enough super license points to go to Formula 1. But of course, just as Colton makes the move, the FIA just came out today and they're going to revise the points allocation for the IndyCar super license. So you can dive through it before the new regulations. First place received 40, second 25, third 20, eighth 6th, ninth, third, and 10th 1 point. And so obviously Colton Herta didn't have enough points to make the jump to Formula One. He would have, I believe, been their reserve driver and kind of waited under a year under Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. But now he's got to work his way up through Formula 2 to earn those super license points. So pretty much every category from first is still staying at 40 points. Instead of 20 points, second place is now 25 points. Second place is now going to receive 30. Third place is going to receive 25 instead of 20. Fourth is going to receive 20 instead of 15. Fifth is going to receive 15 instead of 10. And sixth is going to receive 10 instead of 8. And then all of the other point values from 7th to 10th are going to remain the same. But that's obviously a huge swing for those 3rd through 6th positions. And Colton Herta would have been in Formula 1 by now, it's just a shame the FIA has put this off for so long because it's been known that Colton Herta has wanted to race in Formula 1 for years now.
How about this, you elitist Formula One snobs? If someone is a serious talent in IndyCar, they're good enough to compete in your stupid series.
Exactly.
Stupid.
It really is dumb. You can't tell me. You saw Roman Grosjean, who was decently successful in Formula 1. It's not like he was top driver or anything. He was a little bit middle of the pack, maybe bottom of the middle of the pack. Come over in here and fall on his face. It's not like IndyCar drivers aren't successful.
There's no question. If you ask where are the elite drivers in the world in auto racing, the answer is Formula One. But the margin isn't that large. Come on. There are just as many talented drivers over here as there are over there. And now the world's best drivers are coming to IndyCar as often as they're going to Formula One. And the talent level isn't that different. If Colton Herta can compete with Alex Palou and Pato O'Ward and Will Power and Scott Dixon, he can compete with anybody in Formula One. Give me a freaking break.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the thing is, too, IndyCar has over these F1 drivers is that a lot of these Formula 1 drivers do not want to touch oval racing. Oval racing is is a completely different set of skills that these IndyCar drivers do have alongside their street and road course racings. They're doing two completely different types of racing and two completely different types of cars because they set up oval cars and street cars very differently. That's just another skill that these IndyCar drivers have over these F1 drivers that they're not even willing to touch oval racing because it is honestly dangerous. I get their point of view, but you're a race car driver. Get in the car and drive. Honestly, the racing is just way more competitive. Obviously, this year's Formula One series was interesting to watch only because of the championship battle. It was not because of the racing on track. The racing on track was some of the most boring racing I've ever watched. And I love I can
the
watch
starts are great, man. The starts are fantastic.
First 2 laps are pretty cool, and then it's single file.
That's right. I've been to a few, and it's been like that forever. It's been a long time since they've had racy type racing, and IndyCar has it every freaking week. Even venues last year we didn't expect it. They had great races.
It just goes to show you how we talk about it ad nauseum, but man, the racing in IndyCar is just it feels a lot more superior than Formula One, just because it's so incredibly tight, which is
it's even better than NASCAR now.
Oh yeah, I would think
NASCAR for a long time, you could drive right up next to somebody, you could bump into them, and so it made for better racing. I'm not sure that's the case anymore.
They've really got this formula down well in IndyCar, and super excited to see them roll out the new car here. And I think 2028 is going to be the first season with the new car, so we still got a couple years with this chassis, which I'm all for. I mean, it's proven to be a winner.
I just hope they don't mess things up, man. Just hope
Yeah,
they don't mess it up.
I
Because there have
definitely
been some chassis in the past that have not been great and have caused the driving not to be as good. So got to be
yeah
careful about that.
I definitely get the point of them trying to evolve, but man, the racing is just so damn good.
So good. I've been an IndyCar fan for 45 years, and right now the racing is the best it's ever been. And that includes the IndyCar series, the Indy Racing League, which had just incredible oval battles. But right now, I look forward to every race: road course, street course, oval, short oval, super speedway. Every race has my attention now, and that's never been the case before.
The series is really just in a great standpoint with Fox coming in too. I'm really interested to see what they're going to be able to do next year, having a year under their belt. It really feels like the sport's in a good spot.
Elijah, we're not going to have an IndyCar report next week unless there's breaking news. Breaking Connor Daly news is what we would hope. If not, we will be back on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You're not going to be able to be around your family all day, right? Come on. But no, seriously, any day the rest of the week, Elijah and I will be talking about the 2025 year-end review. Lots of cool things we're going to be talking about. Then the following week on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, we will have a special IndyCar report where Elijah and I will look forward to 2026 in a pretty cool way. So right now, I want to kind of tease that by asking you, Elijah, if there was a new IndyCar fan, who are the 3 drivers you'd tell them to keep an eye on this year?
Well, to start off, you have to go with last year's champion, Alex Palou. Coming off of the year he just had in 2025, it was absolutely dominating. If he's able to go into 2026 with any signs that he is just as dominate as 2025, what a year we're in for. We all watched his talent last year. It was just unimaginable how fast he was, how consistent he was, and he was just really incredible all year. A second one would have to be Will Power. Obviously, we know he's been at
Yeah.
Penske, or he had been at Penske, I should say, for 17 seasons, and he's now going to be in the Andretti car. And that's a huge move that happened this offseason. And seeing him just in a different car that's not that Verizon 12 is going to be so weird. And it's also going to be very interesting to see how he deals with a whole new organization. Andretti car is not the Penske car. So him being in a new seat is definitely going to be fun. And then my third and final driver is actually going to be a rookie with Mick Schumacher signing to Rahal
Yeah.
Letterman Lanigan. I think it's a no-brainer that he's going to be somebody who's got a lot of eyeballs on him. His last name is obviously carries the weight of his father. We all know how good his father was, but it's going to be interesting to see if he can kind of pave his own career. He had some Formula One, I wouldn't call it success, but I would say he had some really good Formula One experience. And him coming into IndyCar is definitely going to be something to watch to see if he can stack up against these very talented set of drivers.
I'd be very interested to see what Rahal Letterman Lanigan has to offer next year. I've always been a fan of Graham Rahal. I'd like to see him back in contention as well.
He's always going to be good at Indy and Mid-Ohio.
Elijah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it as always. And everybody, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Please do us a huge favor and share this podcast with an IndyCar fan in your life and help us spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about every single day. Thanks again, Elijah.
Thank you.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.